Okay, today I'm going to start trigonometry. And in trigonometry, the first thing which you need to study is called Pythagoras theorem. So what is Pythagoras theorem? Pythagoras theorem says that if you have a right angle triangle, let's say ABC, and obviously triangle has three sides, but what we call this side as hypotenuse, this side is opposite, this side is adjacent. So right angle triangle means one of the angle must be 90 degree and the side opposite to 90 degree is hypotenuse. Okay, so generally we call that ABC, but I don't prefer to call ABC because it's very confusing sometimes for the students. So what you need to understand here is that the side opposite to the 90-degree angle is always hypotenuse. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you draw the triangle. You can draw a triangle like this, or you can draw a triangle like this. So you can easily spot the hypotenuse because some students make mistake in selecting the hypotenuse side. So this is 90 degree here. So the side opposite to that is this, which is hypotenuse. Side opposite to 90 degree is hypotenuse. Okay. So you have to keep in mind that hypotenuse is the side which is opposite to the 90-degree angle. Now, Pythagoras theorem says that in a right angle triangle, square of the hypotenuse side is always equal to sum of the square of the other two sides. So, for example, if I have this side of length 4 and this is 3, and I want to find out, let's say, the hypotenuse because this is opposite to the 90-degree angle. So I can use Pythagoras theorem, x square equal to 4 square plus 3 square, and then you can simply solve this. So 16 plus 9, so x square equal to 25, so x is equal to square root of 25, and that will give you 5. Okay, so the length of the side is 5. So basically, when to use Pythagoras theorem? When there are three sides involved in the question and the triangle is a right angle triangle, so they can give you two sides and they can ask you for the third side, any third side. Okay, and you can use Pythagoras theorem for that. But keep in mind that this is only applicable in case of right angle triangle. You cannot use Pythagoras theorem in any other triangle or non-right angle triangle. The next important thing in trigonometry is called trig ratios. Now, what do you mean by ratios? Any idea? Why we use ratios? What's the use of ratio? What do you mean by ratio? You use ratio in many different topics, isn't it? So what's the use of ratio? Why we use it? Okay, so ratio is used when you want to compare two things. You can compare two sizes, isn't it? So let's say in case of a triangle, any triangle, let's say, I can compare this side with this side or this side with this side, isn't it? How? Let's say this is whatever A, B, C. So I can compare A with B as a ratio A is to B. Okay, A over B means A is to B. So what do you mean by comparison? Comparison means we are saying that, for example, this length is 5 and let's say this is 10. So I can say 5 over 10, which is actually 1 over 2, and 1 over 2 can be written as 1 is to 2. So the ratio between the size of this side and this side is 1 is to 2. Okay, so which means one side is double of the other or 2 times the length of the other side. So in mathematics, we use ratio, we use decimals, we use fractions, and we use percentage. They're all the same thing. Only we use one of all in different context. Okay. For example, 1:2 is the ratio. I can write down 1:2 as 1/2 as a fraction. I can write 1/2 in decimals, which is 0.5. And if you multiply decimal by 100, you can get percentage, which is 50%. So all of them represents the same thing, but it depends on the type of problem or the type of question. You can use either of them. Okay. For example, if you give a test in the exam, let's say, and you got 60 marks out of 100. So you will say, I got 60% marks, isn't it? You will not say, I got 0.6 marks. Okay. So depending on the type of problem, you can define or you can use any of them, but all of them represents the same thing. Okay. Now coming back to trig ratios. So here we are talking about trigonometrical ratios. So which type of ratios we are talking about here? Here we are talking about the ratio of the sides. So you know that this side is, let's say, hypotenuse. This is opposite side. This is adjacent. This is 90 degree. And let's consider this angle as A. So here we are talking about ratio of the sides, which means how many ratios you can form out of these three sides? How many ratios you can form out of these three sides? Any idea? How many ratios you can form using three sides of a triangle? Anna said 3. Michael, any idea? Any other answers? No. You can form 6 ratios. So there are total 6 trigonometrical ratios. Okay. Let's see how it is possible. So opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, and opposite over adjacent. These are the 3 trigonometrical ratios. And if you flip all of them, you'll get another 3. So there are 6 different ways you can make ratios, isn't it? Between two sides, let's say. So the first ratio, which I'm writing here, opposite over adjacent, is called sine A. This is cos A. This is tan A. And the other 3 are called cosec A, sec A, cot A. So there are total 6 trigonometrical ratios. Although you won't be using the other 3, but you will be using in higher classes like leaving cert. Okay. So how these are all the short forms. So sine is actually SINE, sine, and the short form is SIN, which you call sin. This is cosine. This is tangent. This is cosecant. This is secant. This is cotangent. Okay. So there are total 6 ratios, but we will be focusing on first 3 because other 3 are reciprocal or inverse of these 3. So you need to, it's probably given in your logbook as well, but you need to, it's better to learn these ratios. Now, another thing, important thing here is that in this right angle triangle, how will you decide which one is opposite side, which one is adjacent side? So you know that the side opposite to 90 degree is hypotenuse. So you already know that. But opposite side means it's opposite to this angle. So at the moment we are using angle A. So that's why this side is opposite. But if you use angle B, let's say somewhere here, then we should call this as opposite side. Okay. And this side should be your adjacent. So as far as Pythagoras theorem is concerned, it doesn't matter what you're calling as opposite side and adjacent side. Why? Because if you go back to Pythagoras theorem, what you're doing, you are adding these two, okay? Square of the opposite plus square of the adjacent. So it doesn't matter you write adjacent square plus opposite square or opposite square plus adjacent square. So it is not relevant in case of Pythagoras theorem. But when you're using any of the trig ratios, it is very important to choose the right opposite side and adjacent side. So opposite side means it is opposite to the angle, okay? And then you can further. So this is another situation when students make mistakes. So if they give you a triangle in some other orientation, let's say, then let's say this angle is whatever 30 degree, then according to this angle, this would be your opposite side and this would be your adjacent side. Okay, so this way you need to choose it. So these are 6 trigonometric ratios, but 3 of them are very important. Now, just to summarize, as in relation to how to use Pythagoras theorem and trig ratios in the question, you use Pythagoras theorem when 3 sides are involved in the question. 3 sides are involved in the question means you know 2 sides and you want to find out the third side. So that is the use of Pythagoras theorem. In case of trig ratios, there are 2 sides and 1 angle is involved. So if you see any of the ratio, you have to find out the angle sine A equals to the ratio of the other 2 sides. So 2 sides and 1 angle. If 2 sides, 1 angle is involved, then you use trig ratios. Okay, they can give you 2 sides and ask for the angle. They can give you 1 side, 1 angle, and they can ask for the side. In both cases, you need to use trig ratios. Now, how will you decide whether to use sine, cos, or tan? So it depends on what you know, and what you want. What you know, what you want means if you know opposite side and you want adjacent, let's say, what you will use tan, because you have opposite side and you want adjacent side, and let's say you have angle as well, so you should use tan A. On the other side, if you know, let's say, adjacent and you want hypotenuse and you know angle as well, so you use cos. Okay, so this is simple concept which you need to keep in your mind when you're dealing with the questions. So let us try some questions. So this is 2015 paper, question 11. Okay, 2 right angle triangles are given below. Find the height of each of this triangle. So there are 2 triangles. This is 5, this is 4, this is 90. And there's another triangle. This is 13, this is 12. Let's call this height as x and this one as, or maybe let's call this y. So let's apply the Pythagoras theorem, and you can clearly see that this is your hypotenuse and this is your hypotenuse in this triangle because it is opposite to the 90-degree angle. So I should say 5 square equal to x square plus 4 square, 25, that's 16. So x square equal to 25 minus 16, which is 9. So x is equal to square root of 9, which is 3. Similarly here, 13 square equal to y square plus 12 square. 13 square is 169, 12 square is 144. So y square equal to 169 minus 144, which will give you 25. So y is equal to square root of 25, which is 5. Okay. So in this way, you can apply Pythagoras theorem to find out any of the side if 2 sides are given. B part of this question. The triangle above are the first 2 triangles with sides of integer lengths where the hypotenuse is 1 unit longer than the base. First of all, what they are trying to say here. So if you look at both of these triangles, there is a common connection between both of them, and the common connection is, what's the base here? 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So the hypotenuse is 5. Similarly here, what's the base here? Base means adjacent. So what's the adjacent side here? 12, and 12 plus 1 is 13, isn't it? So they are saying that this is the connection between the base and the hypotenuse. So hypotenuse is 1 plus adjacent, and based on that, this is n plus 1, and this is n 90 degree, and this is 9, which is given in your question. And you need to find out the value of n using Pythagoras theorem. So again, same logic. That's your hypotenuse first of all, isn't it? So square of the hypotenuse. Now you have to be careful. This is more like an algebra now. Square of the hypotenuse means you should say n plus 1 whole square. Okay, equals to 9 square plus n square. Okay, so just checking if you have any question. Now, if anybody has any question, so they can unmute, the mic and then ask, okay? Because I may not see the messages. Okay, n plus 1 whole square is the hypotenuse. So square of the hypotenuse equal to square of 9 plus square of n square. Now, how will you simplify this? So we did algebra, and I hope you practiced and whatever we did. So how will you open this? One way is you multiply n plus 1 with n plus 1. Otherwise, you should know this simple formula in algebra, which is a square plus 2ab plus b square. Now this is not given in your logbook, so it's always recommended to learn some of these basic formulas. So n plus 1 whole square can be written as n square plus 2n plus 1. 9 square is 81, and n square. So n square gone, because 1 is on the left side, 1 is on the right hand side. So 2n plus 1 equal to 81. 2n equal to 81 minus 1. So 2n equals to 80. So n equals to 40. You need to divide by 2. So what is n? N is equals to 40. So what does it mean? It means that in this triangle, this is 9, this should be 40, and this should be 41. Okay, so that was the question. Okay, let me see. Yeah, this is also interesting. Again, 2015, question number 12. Now, good thing about the questions I'm doing is it's not just from trigonometry, it is from other topics where you need to use the concept of trigonometry, okay, if you understand what I mean. Anyways, let's read this question. The triangle PQR has sides of length 8, 11, and y. Write down one value of y for which triangle PQR is an isosceles triangle. So first of all, what do you mean by isosceles triangle? What do you mean by isosceles triangle? Very good. Two equal sides. Isosceles triangle means two sides must be equal. So they are saying you have an isosceles triangle. One side is, let's say, 8, one is 11, and other side is, or the third side is y. So what is the possible value for y? So obviously one possible value is 8. They are just asking for one value, but there is another possible value which is 11, obviously, isn't it? You can use either 8 If you use 8, then you have two equal sides, and if you use 11, then also you have two equal sides, but they are asking for just one value. So that's the answer for this question. Part B, triangle STU. Triangle STU has sides of length 4, 7, x. 4, 7, and x. This time you need to write down or find out two values of x. So there are two values of x. And they said STU is a right angle triangle. Okay. STU is a right angle triangle. Now, STU is a right angle triangle. That's fine. But I have two sides which are given, 4 and 7. And third side is x, which we don't know. And you need to find out the values of x. So can you guess? Well, it's a calculated guess. Can you tell me which side I should choose as 4 and which side I should choose as 7? Because it's not given in the question. Which side I should choose as 4? Which? Okay, Anna said doesn't matter. And Michael said 7 as hypotenuse. Okay. First, Anna said doesn't matter. It actually matters. Why it matters? Because hypotenuse is the longest side. Agree? In a right angle triangle, hypotenuse is the longest side. Now, since we don't know what is the value of x, so we don't know which one is hypotenuse. Okay. So Michael is right in approach that as I know that 4 is smaller than 7. So I can assume that x is smaller than 7, let's say. And by that assumption, I can say 7 is hypotenuse. Yes, yes. But they asked for two values for x, so you put 7 as the hypotenuse and another side. Yes, that's now it is correct. So they asked for two values. So one possibility is x is not a hypotenuse, and other possibility is x is our hypotenuse, and that's why they ask for two values. Okay, so first you need to consider 7 as your hypotenuse, and it doesn't matter. You can consider x as opposite or adjacent, so that is not a problem. Okay, so if you use that, what will happen? 4 square plus x square equals to 7 square. If I consider 7 as my hypotenuse. So let's see what I get. 49 minus 16. So x square equal to what you will get? 30. 9 minus 6. 3, isn't it? So x is equal to square root of 33. Okay, that's one possibility. Second possibility is, I'll redraw the triangle, and I would say this is x, and then again other two sides are, let's say, 4 and 7. And based on that, I will get x square equal to 4 square plus 7 square. So this time I need to add 49 and 16, and that will give me 65. So x is equal to square root of, let's say, 65. So in this way, there are two possibilities or two possible values of x. Okay. And they said give each answer in Cert form. Cert form means you can leave it like that. So you don't need to convert into decimal. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, I would like to do a question related to trig ratios now, but let's do this one. This is 2017 paper 2, question number 12. Okay. They already give you the triangle. Okay. A diagram on the right shows a right angle triangle with hypotenuse of length 10. So everything is given. Use trigonometry to find the length of the side marked X. So how will you find out X in this case? Anybody can guess? How will you find out X value? Okay, sine 60 is equal to X over 10. Perfect. So as you can see, two sides are involved. Okay, and one angle is involved. So whenever angle is involved, you should use trig ratios. So you have three options: sine, cos, and tan. We will pick sine because sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So sine 60 degree equals to x over 10. Okay, so x is equal to 10 multiplied by sine 60. You can use calculator. Sine 60 is root 3 over 2. So root 3 over 2. So it will give you 5 root 3 as your answer. Okay. So they said give your answer in Cert form, so you can leave it like that. Now, B part of this question. The diagram below shows a regular hexagon. Hexagon means hex means 6. So hexagon means it's a shape with 6 sides, let's say, and with sides of length 10 units. So 6 sides and all sides are equal and the length is given 10. So let us draw this. Okay, so that's 10. I can connect as well. Okay, so each side is 10 and they also gave you this angle which is 60 degree. The hexagon is divided into 6 equilateral triangle. That's given in the question. Now equilateral triangle means all sides are equal as well. So which means all these internal sides are 10 as well. That's the property of equilateral triangle. But there's another property of equilateral triangle. If this is equilateral triangle, let's say 10, 10, 10, and one angle, each angle should be 60 degree because angles are also equal. And sum of the angles of a triangle is always 180 degree. And if you divide 180 into 3 equal parts, you will get 60 degree. So each angle here is 60 degree as well, according to the question. Work out the area of the hexagon. Give your answer in the form a root 3. So how will you find out the area of the hexagon based on what is given in the question? Any idea? Any idea? How will you get the area? There is no direct formula for finding the area of the hexagon. So how will you find out the area of the hexagon here? Area of the triangle times 6, that's correct. There are 6 triangles, all of them are same, exactly same. So you can find out the area of a triangle and then multiply by 6. But how will you find out the area of the triangle then? So Michael said area of the triangle times 6. That's correct. But how will you get the area of the triangle then? It's an equilateral triangle. Very good. The general formula for finding the area is half base multiplied by height. So forget about hexagon at the moment. Just focus on the triangle. This is a triangle. This is 10. This is 10. This is 10, isn't it? And in this triangle, you know the base, which is 10. So I don't have any problem with the base, but I don't know the height. So it means I need to get the height, this height. And this height means, let's call this height whatever h. Okay. So this is h, and you can see that this is now a right angle triangle. This is a right angle triangle, and this angle here is 60 degree. So in a right angle triangle, I want opposite side, which is h, and I know the hypotenuse, which is 10. So which I already got in the previous part, and that is the reason they ask you this question before asking for the area. So the answer which we got here, okay, is actually the height of the triangle. Okay, so I'm writing again, area of the triangle is equal to half base, which is 10, and height is 5 root 3. So what you will get, 10 divided by 2 is 5, so 5 by 5 is 25. So 25 root 3 is the area of the triangle, and then area of the hexagon equals to 6 multiplied by 25 root 3, and that will give you 150, isn't it? So that is the answer, and you can see that they said in the question, give your answer in the form a root 3. So that's basically your a, and what they said, a belongs to natural number, a belongs to n. So this is just to verify that this should be a natural number. By chance, if you do not get a natural number here, it means something is wrong in your calculation. Okay, so sometimes this kind of information is very important to know. Okay, so this question is important, and the reason for that is they will ask you multiple questions in a question, and if you answer the first question, then only you can probably answer the the second or the third question in the same question. So if you are not answering the first part, let's say, you will have trouble in the other parts. So these are called sequential questions basically. Okay, now let's try maybe this one. So I'm trying question based on their difficulty level. So instead of jumping into, so this is question number 8, again paper 2. So you can see that the diagram is given. (12), that's angle y, 10. This is 90 degree, and there's another triangle. Okay, this is 90, this is x, this is x, this is d. Okay, so this is all given in the question. First part, use trigonometry to find the size of angle y. So how will you find out angle y? Can someone answer? Anna said cos y is 10 over 12. Correct. Again, angle is involved, so we need to use trig ratio, and trig ratio is also applicable in case of right angle triangle. So it is a right angle triangle, so we don't have any problem. Which one to use, sine, cos, or tan, depending on what is given or what they want. So they give you adjacent, which is 10, and they give you hypotenuse, which is 12. That's why we need to use cos. Cos y equal to 10 over 12. But how will you find out y then? Y is equal to cos inverse of 10 over 12. So they said write down answer in decimal form, one decimal place. So you need to use calculator. So what's the value of this? So let me check. We want cos inverse of 10 over 12. And this is 33.557. So you can say 33 point, let's say 6 degrees. Okay. Find the value of x and give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So now you need to find out the value of x. X is not an angle, x is a side. So how will you find out x? Any idea? Eva, how will you find out? So you know two sides, x, x, and what's 12 here? 12 is the hypotenuse. Why? Because it is opposite to the 90-degree angle. So you can see now you have to be careful with what you choose as your hypotenuse. Side opposite to 90-degree angle is 12. That's your hypotenuse. So we can use that. 12 square equals to x square plus x square, because the other two sides are x and x. Both are equal. So let us solve this. This is 2x square. So x square equal to 144 divided by 2, 72. So x is equal to square root of 72. But you need to convert into decimal form. So square root of 72 up to 2 decimal places. So 8.485. So 8 point, I would say maybe 49. That's the answer for x. Okay. So in the first part we used trig ratio, and in the second part we used Pythagoras theorem because it involved 3 sides. Okay. Now there is another part of this question which is completely it's completely different. Okay. So how will you answer this? Part B. So there is a circle and Q is the center of the circle. So there is a circle, Q is the center of the circle, and you connect P and R, then you connect P and R as well, and then you connect to point S somewhere here. This is S, and this angle is T. This angle is given 22 degree. You need to, so that's all given in the question. Okay. Important part is this is the center. Find the size of the angle T. Show all of your working out. So you need to show the workings properly. So how will you do this question? How will you find out angle T? Any idea? Any idea? No idea? Okay. So you have a circle with a center Q. Okay. First of all, you need to focus on what is given in the question, and what, if even if it is not given directly, what you can get out of this. First of all, you can see that that's the radius. QR is the radius, and this is also the radius. Agree? Both are radius, and radius of the circle are equal, isn't it? Doesn't matter which point you are connecting. And if these two radiuses, they are equal, it means in this triangle these two sides are equal. And there is very important property in geometry or in a triangle that angles opposite to the equal sides are also equal. So which triangle I'm talking about? I'm talking about P or Q or PQR. So I'm talking about triangle PQR. So in this triangle, PQ is equal to QR. So therefore, this angle here should be 22 as well. Okay. And if this is 22, this is 22, you can also work out this angle. What is this angle? 22 plus 22 is 44. So 180 minus 22 plus 22. Okay. This will give you angle Q, let's say. So 180 minus 44, and that will give you 136. So we got this angle, which is 136 degree. Okay. So what is angle T then? So if you see now, complete thing, it's a quadrilateral. This complete thing is a quadrilateral. And what is the property of the quadrilateral? That opposite opposite angles will add up to 180 as well. So what will happen? The other angle must be 44 degree, isn't it? So this is opposite angle 136, and this one is opposite to that, isn't it? So that will give you okay, this is not a cyclic quadrilateral actually. Okay, it's not a cyclic quadrilateral, and so this is 136. But it should work in this case as well. Let me see. Three 22. That's correct. So angle Q, okay, angle Q internal is 136. So angle Q external is 360 minus this. Oh, okay, I got it. Okay. So what they're saying is this angle here is 360 minus 136. So which will give you 224, isn't it? 360, 136. Yeah, 224. So this internal angle is 136 degree, and the external angle, the other part is 360 minus, because the total is total is 360. So 360 minus 136 will give you 224. Okay. Now 224 So let me draw this circle just for convenience. If you use any arc here, this is the center, let's say. This is an arc AB, and this is some point here C. So you connect this arc or endpoints of the arc to this to A and B, and you connect this to C as well. So the property is, if this angle is, let's say, 120 degree, then this should be half of that. Okay, so this is part of your geometry. I don't know how many people, how many of you actually done geometry. So this is the property of the geometry, that this angle is half of that, provided both angles are standing on the same arc. You can see that it's both are standing on the same arc. Okay, but one is connected to the center and one is connected to the point on the circle, and that is what we are going to use here. So which arc we are talking about here? It's arc RP, this arc. So one angle is 224 and the other would be half of that, because 224 is when you are connecting to the center. This is when you're connecting to the center, isn't it? Point Q. And half of that will give you 112. And that is when you connect to point S. Okay. So you need to use some properties from your geometry as well in such questions. Okay, let me see. That's construction as well. Let's go back to this. Okay. This is another question. It looks very wordy, but it's not bad. 2011. Mary is thinking of buying a new television, and you can see the picture is given. The television is advertised as having a 40-inch screen. So if you go to any online shop, let's say, Curry's or any shop selling PC World, maybe selling televisions, they say 50-inch TV, 60-inch TV or whatever, isn't it? What do you mean by that? It's actually the diagonal, the measurement of the diagonal of the TV. Okay, that is what is called 40 inches or whatever inches given in your screen. So that is given. The aspect ratio of a television screen is the ratio of its width to its height. So there are two things. Sorry. So okay, so they give you sorry, it's a little bit slow. Okay, it's working now. So this, let's say, the screen, and this is 40, and they said aspect ratio, which is the width to its height. Is 16/9. 60 is to 9. 16 is to 9 means 16/9. So this is given, and the diagonal is given 40. So first thing is, or first question is, convert 40 inches into centimeters. So how will you convert that? They already give you the conversion factor. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeter. So 40 inches means 40 multiplied by 2.54. So let us calculate that. 40 multiplied by 2.54. So this will give you 101.6 centimeter. Okay. So that's the answer for the first part. Next part is find the width and the height of the screen in centimeter. Give your answers correct to the nearest centimeter. So how will you find out the width and height of the TV? Anybody? Oh, screen turned off. Sorry. Can you see the screen now? Okay, sorry. Okay, so the first part was you need to convert 40 inches into centimeter. They already give you 1 inch is 2.54 centimeter. So obviously 40 inch means 40 multiplied by 2.54, which is 101.6. Now that's very basic question. Okay, so you just have to convert the unit. But the second question is you need to find out the width and height. How will you do that question? How will you find out the width and height? Any idea? No idea? Any guess? How will you find out the width and height of the TV? Yes, it's given, Anna, it's given in the ratio 16:9, which means 16/9. Here, I'm writing here, but we don't want answer in terms of ratio, we want actual width and height in centimeter. So how will you do that? Okay, so you need to understand this. 16/9 is the ratio, okay? But we don't know the actual width and height. For example, just for an example, if the ratio is 1:2, okay? 1:2 means 1/2, which means if the width is 1, the height should be 2, isn't it? So, but it can be anything. 1:2 ratio means it can be 5/10, which means width is 5, height is 10. It can be whatever, 20/40. That will also give you 1/2, isn't it? So ratio doesn't mean that it's an actual number. So what we will say, 16/9 ratio is there. So you can assume that the width is 16x times x and height is 9 times x. This is how we don't know what's the value of x at the moment, but we know that the ratio is 16/9. So 16/9 means the top is called width, isn't it? The top number is related to width, but it should be a multiple of 16, and the bottom number should be a multiple of 9. So what will happen is that this will anyways cancel, will give you the 16/9 ratio. So you just assume as 16x and 9x. And after that, it's straightforward because you have a right angle triangle. This is 16x, let's say. This is 9x. Wait a second, sorry. Width is 16 and that's 9. Sorry, it's the other way around. This should be 9. This should be 16, isn't it? And this is 40. So 40 square, this is a right angle triangle, equals to 16x whole square, 9x whole square, like this, and then you solve this. So square of 40, 1600, that's 256. That's 81. And then you need to simplify this. So 256 plus 81 will give you 337. So x square equal to 1600 over 337. .7477, let's say, and then you need to find the square root of that. So square root of 4.7477, let's say, is 2.17. I'm just approximately writing as 9, 2.179. So what's the width then? Width was 16x, so 16 times 2.179, and height would be 9 times 2.179. So it will give you 34.864, which is, let's say, 35, and this one will give you 9 times 2.179, so 19.611, which is close to let's say 20. They said give your answer correct to the nearest centimeter, so 35 and 20. Okay, so that's the idea, and this is how you can use the ratio, and then you can convert into actual values. Okay, and obviously in this question we can use Pythagoras theorem because it's forming a right angle triangle. Now part C, I'm giving you as a homework a different 40-inch TV, but the aspect ratio is 4:3. Which of the two television has the greatest area? So you need to find out the actual, in part C, you need to find out actual width and height, and then you can get the area, and then you can compare which television has a greater area. Okay, so I would say practice these questions and exam questions, and maybe exam question, some questions from your book as well, and see. We'll continue this trigonometry because there are a lot of other types of questions left. So next week we'll continue trigonometry. Is that okay? Any questions? Okay, so practice these questions and concepts and see how it goes. And then if you have any question, you can obviously ask next time. We continue with trigonometry. Hopefully we'll finish next week this topic. Okay, so enjoy your weekend. Bye.